Hey, you guys, it's your girl Nia J, and I'm here with my lovely co host, like always.
Pamela, Nicole, what's up, y'all?
Y'all, welcome to the Dynasty Queen's house, okay? You guys. So, we have really been paying attention to what's going on in the media. As all of you all know, there's somebody who is definitely trending, a trending topic, Mr. Okay, Mr. Diddy, okay, Mr. Puff Daddy, Mr. Sean Combs. What other aliases does he have?
We had P. Diddy, we had Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs.
Sean Puffy Combs, right.
This man was forever changing up his alias. I've never heard of anybody else changing up their alias over that span of time that much.
Exactly.
That makes you think, like, why are you doing that? Like, why? To me, if you change your alias up, to me, and this is just my personal opinion, there's more psychological things going on. Like, you have different personas. You know what I mean?
And that would make so much sense because, y'all, he is tied up into so much mess, so much drama, so much scandal. So much scandal at the moment. Okay, where do we begin?
I guess at the beginning, huh?
Okay, so let's go way back, okay? Because we know old girl is the one who brought all this to, the forefront. But let's take it back, close to 30 years back at this point, because time is flying. People definitely back in the day said that he had something to do with, all that stuff with Pac and all kind of stuff. So, it really makes you wonder because now his name is like being just spread all over, and it's all these other famous people that are being linked to him for some crazy stuff. So let's start from the top. Old girl, Cassie, right?
Yep.
Cassie and Diddy, they were in a relationship for close to a decade.
10 years, yeah.
10 years. And then as far as I can recall, she started dating like his personal trainer or whatever. He kind of like, I guess, did some save you type of mission, got her out of the compound. Yeah. And a couple years later, shit is hitting the fan. Indeed. Pam, let's talk about some of these allegations that are circulating.
So, I did want to also touch on the personal trainer. Didn't she end up marrying him too? And they had like kids together,
yes, right? Girl.
Yes. So my deal is we're gonna go back real quick to the Cassie. We've been with this woman for 10 years, okay? We didn't hear about no engagement. We didn't hear about nothing. Y'all were just literally coexisting together. Y'all were partners or whatever. Right. So that makes me think, why do you put a ring on it? What were you doing in between that time that you just could not commit to Cassie? You know what I mean? So,
I mean, and we can also say, a lot of men who have, that are considered moguls like Diddy or have a lot of power in the industry because, Diddy has his hands in a lot. Of course, it started off with Bad Boy, but then he became a mogul, right? He started owning like liquor companies and clothing lines and all this stuff that he had going on from the 90s, going into the 2000s, going into, where we are now. With someone with so much money and power and, recognition, it's really hard to, unless you have all this solid concrete evidence, it's really hard to kind of just be like, hey, this is what this man did to me, lock him up. But no, guess what? When Cassie came out, baby, it was a document. It was an essay. It was a book. It was a novel of evidence and allegations and accusations. Let's get into some of this stuff. We're talking about using her as a sex slave. Okay. We're talking about locking her up in rooms for hours at a time. We're talking about not feeding her. We're talking about keeping her away from her loved ones. We're talking about not being able to go outside. We're talking about her career becoming non-existent.
Yeah.
Right. And this is stuff that kind of stuff we saw on the forefront because when Cassie first came out, I was like, oh, she's really cute. She has the cute little it girl image. And okay, I can see something happening with this. But as soon as she linked up with him, I don't know. He kept her close. So I don't know what was really going on. What do you think?
I really feel like you're mentioning Cassie, and I'm thinking way past Cassie too. But I'm thinking like it's an age thing. It's you have to be like a certain age and under for him to be able to have that power over you. And I say that in reference to wasn't he with J Lo for the longest time? He was with Jennifer Lopez. You didn't hear nothing about that in the '90s. She didn't have any issues. Nothing happened. They were around the same age. But I feel like with Cassie, because she was younger, he definitely could just kind of manipulate her to do whatever he wanted. Oh, you want this fame, fortune. This is what you're gonna have to do. This is what you're gonna have to like do for me, do for the label, blase, blase. So I really feel like it is definitely an age thing. And that's with like a lot of rappers. I mean, we got R. Kelly. We all know about the R. Kelly situation and the stories, and there was an age situation with him as well. You know, so what do you think about that, Nia? As far as it being just like like a younger, like I don't know, like 20 years younger than him type situation that he can just kind of like mold and do whatever he wants with these people.
I hear what you're saying with the age thing. Well, let's be mindful. Cassie looks a lot younger. Let's see, how old is Cassie's close to almost 40. She's about 38.
Okay.
Diddy's in his early 50s. I don't think it was the age gap wasn't that significant to me. You can compare it to Beyonce and Jay-Z. Here's the thing. J-Lo got on down. She got on up out of there because they didn't date for long. When she started dating him, that was that stuff with the artist Shine. Remember Shine?
Mm-hmm.
Remember with the club shooting and stuff and all that? Diddy was caught up in that at first too. But because of the power and stuff that he has, he was, able to dodge that at that time. He was really hot. He was on top of the charts and had all the artists on top of the charts at this point in time. So J-Lo did not give herself the opportunity to be played with. She was like, oh, this man is not going to play in my face. I'm about to get the hell on down. That's the first thing. The second thing, yes. When Cassie first came out, she was a teenager, right? She was 19. She was of age. I'll say that. I think it's more so of a power flex on women in general. I don't really know if it's so much of an age thing. It could very well be. But I just feel like certain men who have power and influence, they feel they should have a domineering presence over the female species. That's how I feel about it. And I feel that Cassie was probably purposely isolated from her immediate family with the notion that, hey, he's just grooming her to be the next superstar. That's probably what it led to. But I'm sure that even though there was an age difference at the time because she was so young when they got together, her mom and them were like, oh, well, there's an exception. This is P. Diddy. Like, he's going to make sure our baby girl is set for life. So I don't really think her family was thinking, he's a predator. He's, keeping her estranged from us or anything like that. They were probably more so like, okay, she's been working hard. She's had the vocals. She's been doing this since she was a kid. This is her opportunity. Let's make the most of it. Very similar to when Beyonce and Jay-Z got together.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. There's so many gray areas, Nia, to this. Like, because, we really don't know what's going on. But, the thing about Cassie, though, they did have that act that was expiring in New York. So she felt the need to I got to get this off my chest. This has to be said before I can't say anything,
Exactly. And as soon as she did that, all those other women came out too. Like literally a day before the, what is it called? Before it expired. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good to say because it was expiring. So,
yeah.
Expiration date.
Right. But there's a specific word that I'm looking for. But regardless, yeah, all these women came out, with these accusations a day before I used to affiliate this word with rape, right? It's a word that means it's expiring. Like you can't press charges against it, but it's going to come to mind a little bit later in the interview. But girl, yeah, it's just a lot of craziness going on. And, in the era of Me Too, I feel like a lot of men are getting their just due for what they have done to not just women, but young men also, in the industry. So I feel that anyone who was doing wrong to these women or men at the time, they feel, okay, everyone else is speaking up. Let me just, come forward with my story. And right now, just so happened to be the Sean Puffy Combs Diddy. It's his time to get exposed, right?
Indeed.
So my question to you, Bestie, is how do you feel about all this stuff that's coming out? Do you feel there's any validity to it, or what are some of your thoughts on everything?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And just because, going back to Cassie real quick, he paid her off. Like, you didn't hear him pay off anybody else. Why did he pay this off so quick? And then you didn't hear anything else. It was just like, oh, here's the money. Be blessed. You know what I mean? There was no climax to like what happened. It's like, ooh, we're all waiting, reading the media. And then it's like, oh, let me pay her off real quick. Let me shut this down right now. Why did you shut it down? Why did you not like validate or not just vindicate yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, why just pay someone off if you know that you didn't do anything wrong? That was number one for me, girl. So I'm like, because I'm not about to pay nobody millions and millions of dollars just to be blessed or whatever and go on with your life if I know I didn't do anything wrong. That's my thing.
I hear you. I definitely do. I'm going to have to correct you. There was probably plenty of climaxing going on. There was probably plenty of climaxing going on. Oh, and I just thought of the word statute of limitation.
There we go.
That's the word I was looking for. That's the actual quote unquote, by the book, that's the actual word we're looking for. The statute of limitation for these type of allegations was coming to a close, right? The end of last year. And literally it was 30 plus lawsuits that came out.
That's crazy.
Mind you, please correct me if I'm wrong, were these civil or criminal? I think they were civil.
They were civil.
Yeah. So some people can say, I'm going to play devil's advocate just because we are a podcast and, we don't know who we're going to have come on through here. You know what I mean? So, we may have some legends. So I'm going to play devil's advocate. And I'm going to say, it's really, there's a gray area because sometimes, people over through history have not been truthful about certain things that have happened to them. However, you cannot deny hardcore facts and evidence. So whatever they got going on that gave them enough reasonable doubt to search his compound, to search his home, go through all his stuff, ransack the crib, if you will. You know what I mean? While his adult sons were there. I don't know if the twin girls were there or not, but we know that we saw Justin and King in cuffs outside of the house, right? I don't think they were arrested. But let's talk about that. What kind of proof do the feds have to have on your behind to come through and tear your house apart and looking for what? What are they looking for?
And not only just one
everybody.
house. They went LA, they went Miami, they hit both houses looking for, what were you looking for? What I'm thinking is somebody of higher power status, maybe equal to him, is like, no, you ain't getting away with this. And has the interconnections with the feds like, oh no, I got a tip. Let's go ahead. Y'all go ahead and do what y'all got to do. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I could think of. It's almost like some like borderline mafia type shit,
Well, we know who the front man tipster is. It's the producer guy. Mm-hmm. But you're saying there's somebody behind him who's actually the puppeteer is what you're saying. He's just the front man.
I think so. For sure.
Yeah. Because this guy just randomly came out of the blue and he's like, hey, you guys, in case you didn't know, here's what's going on. We're in 2024. It's been kind of quiet, Cassie had her little stuff that happened last year. All this one came out. But guess what?
Right.
Here is the shit show that y'all have been waiting for.
And not only that, though, Nia, like there's him at the forefront. Then you have the list of redacted individuals.
That part. And what gives them, answer this if you can for me, Pam, what gives these people the privilege to be redacted from these, because these are public documents at this time, right? Why are some of these names blacked out? Who have you paid off? This shit is getting real. It's getting deep. What in the hell is really going on?
But here's the part about the redacted individuals. They don't give you the names of the individuals, but they give you, it's almost like, remember that game where we were growing up, Guess Who? And it's like, and you got to like figure out who's who.
Yeah.
said on one of the redacted individuals, they had a Vegas residency, performed at the Super Bowl.
No. Say it ain't so.
Let's really think about that. Who do we know that had a Vegas residency and performed at the Super Bowl? Just performed at the Super Bowl.
Say it ain't so.
And was affiliated with Sean Combs when he started his career.
We know who. We know who. And the thing is, some of the people that are wrapped up into this, situation, they're going to be some of y'all's faves, right? But at the end of the day, you really have to separate the artist from the person because we don't know these people. We don't know them day in, day out. We don't know how they conduct their lives. We don't know their sexual preferences or who they have in their bed, at any given time. It's a lot of people that are being exposed right now. Aside from Diddy, you had Russell Simmons, for example. Now he's ducked off in Malaysia or Thailand, wherever. We have we don't have a law with them where we can extradite them, right? We don't have no extradition clause with Thailand, I believe it is. He's been chilling for like 2 years,
right.
So you really have to think. This, like I said, this is the era of Me Too. There's a lot of powerful people that are being exposed.
Mm-hmm.
We already know about Harvey Weinstein, all these folks. So my thing is, okay, y'all got this on Diddy, right? So what's going to become of it? Because we're in the middle of the shit show. And he has yet to be arrested.
Right.
So what do they actually have on this man? He has yet to be arrested.
Who knows? Honestly. It'll come out in due time, but I feel like it's been kept under wraps. I think that people do know and they do have actual hardcore evidence, but I feel like with media and stuff, they're not ready. The world's not ready. Because I honestly feel like this might be some shit that's even more disgusting than R. Kelly's. Hey guys, it's Pamela and Nicole from Dynasty Queens, and I'm here today to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, socialmediablastoff.net. If you're out here as an entrepreneur, an artist, a model, you name it, and you're trying to get your business off the ground, they got you covered. Whether you're on social media platforms such as Instagram, X, Facebook, or if you're an artist, if you're on wanting to get on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, or Amazon Music, socialmediablastoff.net has you covered. Since you're new to the game, go ahead and save 30% on your purchase with socialmediablastoff.net and get your business going. Go ahead and scan that QR code right down here and got you all set.
More disgusting than R. Kelly. And then you have to think about it, like at the same time, there's all these names that are being dragged into this particular case. You have like T.D. Jake's name being dragged around, and then you have all these other people's names being dragged around. Stevie J. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that because, here on Dynasty Queens, we support everybody. We support, every movement. No bias here, but it's something to me, it's something about being in the closet that just does not sit well with me. I feel if you are going to be a gay man or bisexual, please live in your goddamn truth.
This is true. But
don't sugarcoat that shit. Live in your truth. So these allegations about Stevie J, having sex with a Caucasian male on this porn video, mm-hmm. Stuff like that, and then trying to groom young men in the Diddy compound, like, hey, you want to be part of my entourage? Hey, you want to be my personal assistant? This is what you got to do. You got to get down. Mm-hmm. Young man, you got to get down. Literally, you got to get down. So with stuff like that, that is wildly, wildly, wildly outrageous. But you know who we have not heard from whatsoever, or whatsoever we haven't heard from this person? Farnsworth Bentley. Remember that name?
Oh my goodness.
And I keep seeing like on every post, whether it be on any of the media sites that we all know, I keep seeing in the comments, people are like, where's Farnsworth Bentley? He hasn't said anything. Where is this man? The Umbrella Man from 20 years ago. Where is he? He supposedly was an artist, but he never blew up. He became Diddy's...
in his entourage, like his little sidekick. Pretty much. So you think about that, like you mentioned, like I almost forgot about him, honestly. And you got to think, you could just the way that he like interacted with Diddy, like even back in the day, it was just very like hush hush. Like I see all, but I'm getting paid very handsomely, so it ain't none of my business. Let me just turn the other cheek, that type of energy. And that was
Hun on turn the other cheek. Hun on turn the other cheek. I'm gonna do this innuendos the whole show, you guys. So enjoy. I bet he did turn the other cheek.
and the left and the right. Boom, boom,
The left
boom.
and the right. Remember he was in that Outcast video, I Like the Way You Move?
Yep.
Remember that? I bet Diddy liked the way he moved. I bet he sure did. You guys forgive me. But at the end of the day, no, for real, like, where is this man? Why are you so silent? And since then, there has been all these people, like the journalist Torre. I don't know if you remember Torre. He used to be like on BT. He was a media person. He recently did an interview, like last week, where he was like, he put his cousin on, right? He said he put his cousin onto an internship with Diddy. 3 months in, his cousin was like, hell nah, cuz I am out of there. What happened? He told me it was either this, you get with this, or it's nothing at all. So I just it's so like outrageous that you're actually out here trying to groom and possibly persuade young men who may have never even thought about homosexuality or anything like that, just to make it in the industry, or even young ladies. It doesn't matter the sexual preference. What matters is that you're trying to put pressure on people to do something to get to the next level.
That. And is it really worth it? Like in the long run, is it really worth it?
Is it worth it?
Because it's like at that point, you're literally a prisoner. Without being like in the federal system or, county system, you are considered a prisoner. If you think about it,
Based on what Cassie said, it seemed like she was a prisoner.
Definitely.
Yeah. But here's the question. Some people are going to say, okay, Cassie, at this point in time, you are a fully functioning adult woman. You've been with this man for over a decade. Let's say this is like around 2017 or so, and she's still with him. What is it that's stopping you from leaving? And I think that's a fair question.
Okay. That is
so
fair.
What do you think some of the reasons that some women that are even men that are going through, this day in and day out type of abuse, because it is a form of abuse, what do you think it is that makes them decide, hey, I'm just going to stick it out for a while longer?
I mean, it's just like any other type of like abusive situation, any kind of trauma that anybody experiences. This is your everyday. Like, what's going to happen to you if you leave? What are people going to say about you when you leave? You know what I'm saying? I think that's a lot of the problem when people don't want to stick up and say what happened, because like maybe at this point you're out here in the world, you have a really good job, you're making a lot of money, you're doing your everyday life, and say something happened to you, but like you're dealing with your own trauma, you're waiting for somebody else to say something. Because if you say something, it's like, oh, you're lying. Oh, we don't believe you. There goes your job. There goes the life that you have had you just shut up in the first place. And I really feel like people are just so scared to just live their own honest truth, because I'm going to lose it all if I say anything. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And maybe the fact that she didn't even have to have a job, right? She wasn't making music or doing anything for the longest time. She was really enjoying, being his trophy, every time they show them on red carpets. And it's funny because now, social media and the internet, they're playing all these little clips. You can kind of put stuff together, like whenever they're on the red carpet together and she starts speaking to an interviewer first, and he's looking at her like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, shut the fuck up. Like, like, let me do this. Yeah. It's stuff like that. You can kind of look at body language, and then how when he interjects, when she's talking, how he's, like, kind of like that little grab and like, almost like some Ike and Tina.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Ike and Tina type of stuff.
Right.
And then also, there's so many people that have been affiliated with him. And I find it very funny that, let's go on the other side of it. Nobody from Bad Boy today is a thriving artist. I find that so outrageous.
I would say the old heads, he is the only one. I mean, I think Janelle Monáe is signed with Bad Boy. Machine Gun Kelly is signed with Bad Boy. Those are probably the only two. But I mean, they're not like big moguls. I know what you're saying, but
No, no. Let's talk about the people from the 90s. Let's talk about the Faith Evans and the 112s, the Danity Kanes. We know Aubrey from Danity Kane had a lot to say about Diddy. Years ago, before Cassie said a word, Aubrey had a lot to say, okay? Danity Kane, Day 26.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
what happened to all these making the band people?
Girl. And then
were they not willing to go to Pound Town? Were they not willing to go to Pound Town?
I don't know. Remember that the first group he had, Dream, with the She Loves Me, He Loves Me Not, that one?
Yes.
That was like the first, and they only had that one, maybe 2 albums. I don't even remember, but they were girls, you know, and they disappeared off the face of the earth. And then I guess he decided, let's do Danity Kane. Let's do a revamp and try it again. But yeah, no, he's never really had any aspiring artists that just like made it, like you're saying. So
years ago, I went to the Bad Boy. Was it the 30 or 20-year reunion? It was one of the reunions, whatever. I went to that. It was a concert, you know, back when I was living back home in Houston. Went to that. And I was looking at all the acts and I was like, man, this is some great music. You had Total. Remember Total? Yeah. They were up there. 112 performed. Faith Evans brought the house down. You think of other people that have been affiliated with him, like Maze. And other people too that I'm actually kind of cool with that were affiliated with Diddy. I really don't want to touch on that too much, but all these people that were prevalent in the 90s and early 2000s, it's like they have no relevance today, and nothing against them. They are great artists, great talent. They are part of history. Bad Boy has a legacy. It always will, regardless of whatever the situation is going to actually become, that's going to tarnish the whole thing. Mm-hmm. They still have a musical legacy, a catalog, right? Great music. But when you fast forward to now, it's like, what do these people have to show? Carl Thomas. That's another one. Why are none of these people, not a single one of them, on top of the charts today? What other label has that? Whoever Jay-Z started off with, he became a mogul. You can think about other people that brought folks out, and we're still kind of doing something, Jermaine Dupri helping, usher all these people. They're still prevalent today. But what happened with all of Diddy's folks? You have to scratch your head and wonder, were these people not willing to get down?
That, or it could be like some financial thing too, like almost kind of like a Donald Trump, like, let me like take what I promised you. You know what I mean? That's the only other thing I think of. It'll have to be like a financial thing where, they don't have the finances to get what they need off the ground or whatever and be the artist that they were meant to be, Yeah,
there's a double-edged sword. There's always 2, 3, or 4 sides to every story, right? So my thing is, with all of the accusations and everything that's coming to the forefront, I'm going to need some of these bigger names to start talking. I'm going to need some of these bigger names to become more vocal and really express what they've experienced being in Diddy's presence. What is that like?
You know what I think about though, when you say stuff like that, Nia? So say you have another mogul that dealt with it. All their skeletons are going to come out the closet. It's not just the focus on the Diddy situation. You know what I mean? So once you put that out, who knows? It's like a firecracker that, oh, well, what about when you did this? And then, oh, hell, like that. I think people have to really prepare themselves for everything. You know what I mean? Especially if you've done your dirt and you've been able to cover it up for so many years or whatever. I think honestly, that's why no one is saying anything, because Diddy probably has dirt on them. So he can deflect, take all this heat off him and put it on somebody else if they were to say something.
And that just really goes to show, because, they said he had cameras literally in every nook and cranny and crevice of his home, from every bedroom to the bathrooms to whatever game rooms to movie, whatever rooms this man had in his home or outside of the property, there were so many cameras. And people are saying that's why folks are not talking, because a lot of people have participated in the Diddy parties. That doesn't mean that everybody see with predators. And once again, I'm playing devil's advocate, because to me, you have to be completely proven guilty in the court of law before I'm going to say, okay, this person did this, right? But there's a lot of evidence out right now. And like I said, the feds wouldn't just raid you for no reason. But the fact of the matter is that, like you said, if some of these people start talking, it can definitely, they have to start scratching their head like, wait a minute, did I do anything? You know, could have had a drunk night. Girl could have been underage. Wait a minute now. Let me sit this one out.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely it's giving that energy.
Yeah. That's the only thing I could think of, you know, like it just doesn't make any sense.
Right. So how do you feel about, you know, the different religious leaders and different names that are being thrown into everything? Do you find any validity to that, or do we need more hardcore proof?
When it comes to like talking about people of like faith and stuff like that, yeah, you have to give me a little bit more. Like I know that they threw TD Jake's name out there and everything. You're gonna have to give me a little bit more proof. You know what I'm saying? I'm a spiritual woman, and you don't want to think about those things, but we're all human. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does what they're gonna do. Like, I definitely feel like in that aspect, like any like leaders like in that realm, nah, I'm not gonna touch that. Like we need the proof. You know what I'm saying?
And that's where it becomes watery and the lines are kind of, because when you start throwing random people into some real shit, that's not fair to them. Everyone deserves their just due. If they have enough evidence on any of these people to bring them before a court of law, or even be presented through a civil case where you have to start paying folks out, I need to hear some of the facts. You know, like it's the waters are very murky. And then you have other people like 50 Cent who are constantly chastising Diddy day in and day out on social media. Of course, it's very entertaining. It's very funny. I have chuckled a lot at, you know, the way that he has responded to everything, and the way he's like, man, you know, brother love, like, what's going on, brother love? And even bringing his baby mama into the mess, and, you know, her being thrown around in this as well, saying that she was a sex worker for Diddy. And now it makes sense to me why, since forever, as long as I can recall, there's been this rift between them, where every time that Diddy's in the media, 50 Cent finds himself making a mockery of him in some capacity. But it makes sense. The baby mama, it makes sense now. It was over a woman. I get it.
It's crazy. Now, 50 is hilarious. Like,
he's a big dude. And my thing is, if you feel that confident to just really put someone on blast who has all this stuff, I'd be like, well, my thing would be, well, I haven't done nothing. Obviously, I find it hilarious. And the fact that he's the only person who actually has been speaking out, he probably really doesn't have anything on him, you know?
Or maybe he has people that were involved that it's like, this is what happened. This is what went down. And it's funny. Like, it's funny to him. So he's just like, oh, no, this is wild. Let me roll with this. Even though he may, you know, not have gone to these parties. He may not have been like affiliated with Diddy like that. He knows stuff. He knows people that know stuff. Everybody knows somebody in the limelight that has done something. And we're either too drunk or too high one day and just like let it all out. Like, oh yeah, let me let these skeletons out real quick. Oh, mental note, let me write that down mentally, and then just boom. 50 Cent.
He has said plenty over the years. The first thing, okay, back in the day, he was cool with Diddy. I'd say about 20 plus years ago when 50 Cent first came out. They were cool. And I've heard him say this through interview. Okay, so radio interview and live broadcast where you can see him talking.
Yep.
So according to Curtis Jackson, right? According to him, he was getting cool with Diddy, but something to the fact like he was wanting to spend more time with him, and it was getting weird, and he was just like, you know, like what? Like, I feel you're kind of, you know, coming on a little funny. And then fast forward, when they were cool, at first 50 Cent was like, okay, well, you know, he's a little weird, whatever. Diddy started sending him photos of Cassie, supposedly, right? I don't have any proof of this. He started sending him photos of Cassie while performing, unmentionable acts with other men, women, objects, things. I don't know. He was sending him photos.
Yeah.
And then 50 Cent was like, yo, like, isn't this your girl? Like, this is your girl, right? This ain't just someone you're knocking down. This is like your chick, your woman, right? He's like, yeah, what do you think about this? And he was like, man, this is wild. If this is the girl that you supposedly love and are like, this is her, why are you sending me this?
Exactly.
Why do you feel this is cool? And I think he said his response was, oh man, it's all in good fun. Like, I just wanted to get your reaction. What do you think about it? So I feel like Diddy was trying to like test certain people, men and women in the industry, to see who he could play with. And I think he learned that day 50 Cent was not one of them. And then throw the baby mama into it. 50 Cent is not one of them. He is on that man's ass like every 10 minutes. I guarantee you that as we're doing this interview, he probably dropped 2 more posts about Diddy. I mean, but it makes sense. When you look at the history, it's like, okay, he finds this guy to be a complete clown. And I'm sure he knows even more than he's even,
telling.
Just because it's code, I guess. I'm sure he knows even more, girl.
Of course. He's not the only, he's the only one that I've seen, in media that's been saying stuff, but I do want to just touch on this too. Going back to the redacted individuals, they were also talking about a certain rapper from Philly that dated Nicki Minaj. And we've heard through the grapevine things about him since he came out. So it's like, damn, was this all true? Like, is this rumor? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it makes you really think, like, why do people say stuff about people like off the bat? And then later on, like years down the line, it's like, okay, maybe they were right. I'm not saying yes or no to it, just what we've heard on media. So I'm not taking any sides with that. It's just like I said, when you give clues to people that are redacted.
Well, I'm sure that rapper you're talking about didn't pray for times like this.
You are on it today.
I'm on it. I need my little do, for every little pun. I'm sure he didn't pray for times like this. But anyways, it's just really, really crazy to just think about a day and age, because when we were kids, it seemed like Diddy was on top of the world, right? He was everywhere. I just find it so it's just coming full circle. But to me, it does make sense. It's like, I feel when you're in a position of power, you just feel that you have the audacity and the authority and the entitlement to just, I guess, talk to people however, treat people however. Now, I was watching Chris Como, and he had some people on his show. He had one of Diddy's former publicists, like this guy from the UK. And then he had an old boy who used to be a rapper that was signed to Bad Boy. I forgot his name, but he was getting interviewed as well. And then what the publicist said was, from my recollection, I didn't see any misconduct on that far of the spectrum. He said, however, the man was rude as hell. He was strict. He was very rude. He was to the point, matter of fact, wanted things done when he wanted them done. And he said it was really difficult to work with him. He said, but I never saw any sexual misconduct. What I was going to say earlier is that I feel that sometimes predators know who to kind of display the bullshit in front of versus who not to. Because you can kind of get a sense of somebody when you first meet them, like, can I get away with this person? Can I get away with this person? Right. And when you know you can't get away with it with, you have to keep the persona going that you're this, hey, brother love, right? You have to keep the persona going. Yeah. So they purposely, and this is with all predators, they're not going to display that to everybody. You can't. Because if everybody knows who you really are, it's not going to work. No. Definitely not for 30 years.
Jeez. It just boggles my mind. And I wonder also, as far as we knew about R. Kelly grooming these girls and stuff, how many individuals do you feel like Diddy groomed?
Here's the thing. I feel like some of these other people that are now serving time for their crimes, I don't feel that they function at the same mental capacity that Diddy does. I feel Diddy is someone who has a higher IQ than some of the other people that are serving prison time right now, who are just straight dumbass. This man is not. He's been very meticulous. If these allegations are correct with the way that he moves. So I'm sure he's very much so caught off guard. And I'm sure he never thought old girl was going to expose all of these alleged accusations, crimes, women being sold into sex slavery against their will.
You know what I just thought about too, Mia? I always like to look at like when people do satire against somebody else. Think about Chappelle's show. Think about how he played Diddy. And you think about like just the way that he moved just in comedy satire, just you think about the personality. There's definitely some type of borderline personality disorder. There's some kind of multiple person. Like I said in the beginning, to have that many aliases, there is a personality for each alias. There has to be. Like, to me, that's what it just seems like. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. He has young daughters. Of course. He has to be able to switch from predator, like, switch from predator to actually, loving on his girls, loving on his babies. He has a very small daughter that was not even 2 years old. So, of course, he has to be able to flip the switch, dad, predator, mogul, businessman, predator, dad. I don't know when the flip mode happens, but yeah. And I'm sure that goes for not just people like that, but probably some of your serial killers from back in the day too. I'm sure Ted Bundy had more than one side to him, or the one who was eating folks, Dahmer. I'm sure he had multiple sides to them.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But for whatever reason, when you have a beast within you, because that's an animal, when you have a beast within you that makes you want to rape or kill or, be a predator or see people in pain and it gives you some type of thrill or turns you on, that's a sickness.
That is a sickness. You're absolutely right. There's definitely a mental condition. Now, there's one person we have not touched on, friend.
Who?
Miss Carisha.
Let's talk about Carisha, please.
I need to know.
You didn't catch that. Let's talk about Carisha, please.
What is going on? Because she's been involved with him. How many? Like, what, 2 years?
Honey, they're saying she is a drug runner, right?
Oh,
they're saying she is a drug mule. I don't know. What do you think about that?
She hasn't said anything. So, I got to group her with everybody else that knows something that just don't want to say anything. Like, I just don't understand. Like, we saw them in the limelight day in, day out. And it just seemed like, oh yeah, like I'm cool with just being this. And, it's just nuts to me that you are always in the limelight with this certain individual and nothing else comes of it. So what are you doing? What are you doing behind the scenes, girl? That's what I'd be thinking.
Carisha, she's from Miami. And she grew up in the trenches, like, for real. So I feel for her, it was a fight or flight because, let's be honest, as the city girls were dwindling down, she needed a backup plan. And this man was able to give her a podcast that soared through all of the podcast history records and everything, even though some people said, I don't know why. We know why, because you're affiliated with Brother Love, right? So I think for her, initially, it was more so of a, let me move up in this game, like, let me try to hold my fort down. Even if he doesn't make things official, it's okay because I'm sure he has tricked off on her quite well over the past 2 years. Trips, money, cars, all that good stuff. Homes, I'm sure. She has kids. I'm sure he takes care of them too. But, now it's like, I'm sure she kind of knew or heard some things about the other women before. Yeah. Kim Porter, Cassie, whoever. I'm not going to touch too much about Kim Porter because I don't have any validity to what other, there's conspiracy theories about her. I'm not going to touch on that because that's disrespectful. As far as I know, she passed from pneumonia. I'm not even going to touch on that, with no validity behind it. She has children, so I'm not going to do that. But with Carisha, honey, she was not thinking about none of that stuff. She was there for the lifestyle. indulge in the lifestyle. She's from the trenches. She doesn't know anything about, flying first class and all this stuff. She had to learn how to eat with the correct utensils. Like, she didn't know anything, So, and then she got caught up in it too, and it can happen. And because of that, we don't know what future indictments may come out against her, if they have any proof that she was a drug mule. Child, I don't know. But all I do know is that it's some shit, and I'm sure she doesn't really want no part in that. But at this point in time, you kind of make your bed. You kind of are always linked to who you're around, unfortunately.
Well, I hope she enjoyed it while it lasts.
No, but once again, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Carisha, if you want to come on Dynasty Queens, we are here, girl. We are ready. We want to talk to you. Like, let's do it. Let's see what you have to say. We want to hear your side of the story.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait for the Netflix series, babe.
And that's the thing about this topic that we're talking about, y'all, because this is an ongoing situation. Like, this is a Bible moment. So we don't have a concrete scenario or like a final, because this is happening as we speak. Yeah. We may have to do a part 2 on this, or 3, because this is ongoing. I'm sure it's some feds sitting around as right now while we're filming.
Right.
Talking about this on the clock. What's their next move with this situation? As far as I know, Diddy took his twin girls out on a dinner date the other night. So what he's perpetrating to the public or to the media is that he don't give a shit, but probably not the case for real.
Well, there you have it. So what do y'all think? What are y'all opinions on Diddy? Go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Just tell us what y'all think about the whole fiasco.
That's what it is. It's definitely a fiasco.
Oh, shit show. For sure. But, oh my gosh. Well, my dear, I guess we'll just have to wait for more information and do a part 2 once it comes out. That's all we can do.
No, I'm ready for the scoop.
Always
you guys posted though. So Pam, let's go ahead and close it out. What are your final thoughts on the whole Diddy situation? Closing words.
I just honestly think justice just needs to be served. I'm here for the tea. I'm always here for the tea, but a lot of people have been just involved that need just to be at peace and have that closure. I just hope justice is served for everybody that needs their justice. That's all I got to say. What about you?
I respect that. At the end of the day, like I said, it's ongoing. We'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, I am never concrete in my decision until it is proven in a court of law, whether that be by a jury or if he pleads. If it goes criminal, then like I said, we'll have to just wait it out and see. But all I know is some good tea. Media folks like us, it's some great tea.
For sure. Well, in closing, until next time, guys, I am Pamela Nicole, and I've got the beautiful
Mia J, baby.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification at the bottom so you can stay up to date with our weekly uploads. And we'll see you on our next episode of Dynasty Queens.
See you guys later.